Now, navigating family divorce and family law issues, it can be overwhelming, but one St. Louis professional is working to make the legal process more approachable, affordable, and less stressful for local families. So joining us live in studio is Mark Haefner, attorney and founder of Haefner Law Office. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mark.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so why don't we start a little bit about this? If someone's looking for that family law attorney, what are some things that they should be looking for?
Well, one thing you probably want to really focus on is find someone who specializes in family law. It is a very complex area of law. You don't want to get someone who does everything under the sun, because that means they're probably not going to do anything real great. Whereas you want to get a law firm that's focused almost exclusively on family law issues, and that way they're going to be able to tell you with fairly certain how this is going to end up and where you're going to be, especially if we know who the judge is or the opposing counsel is, things like that. So if you can find a family-focused law firm, that's going to be helpful.
Right.
Another thing I usually recommend is have a team, because if someone's charging, $100 an hour less as an attorney, but they don't have an assistant, they're doing all the work. Whereas we try and shift as much as we can onto a paralegal who bills at a substantially lower rate. Generally, I have my paralegals draft as many of the documents as possible, where I just review and edit, which saves the clients a tremendous amount of money.
Wow. So going off about this a little bit here, if you have the right attorney, okay, now let's talk about the divorce itself. There's a difference between an uncontested divorce rather than the more traditional contested divorce. So what would your opinion be on which route to go?
If you can do uncontested, I would do that every time. You're going to save time, you're going to save money, and you're going to save stress. All three things are massive in divorces, uncontested or contested. But we can do uncontested divorces. That's where you guys agree on everything and sit down and kind of go through everything beforehand, to where we're just drawing up what you guys are going to be doing. We make it legal. It's generally painless. Usually we never have to step foot in court. The lawyers take care of all of it.
Wow.
But to do that, you need to say, okay, here's how we're going to be dividing things up. Here's what we want our parenting plan to look like. And when people call me and they say, we've got a contested case and it's going to be a big fight, I ask generally what the problems are. And if they're fighting over something like, how the property's divided or what the parenting plan is going to look like, I'm able to tell them, here's what the courts default to. You can argue off this one way or the other, but whether you pay me $100,000 or $1,500, we'll probably end up very close to this.
Yeah, and that really goes back to what you were saying of having that expertise, that this is what you work on, what you know. Now, I want to end here with this because it's summertime, and so things are going to be looking a little bit different. So what should people who have separated or divorced, what should they be thinking about this summer with the kids out of school?
Yeah, no, my friend Don Michaud was just talking about this the other day, about how he wanted to figure out, okay, what's going on now with camps and summer plans and things like that. Parents who, have the kids in school, especially if this is the first time you're having the kids separate this summer, you need to make sure that you're understanding the schedules, what time camps happens, what they need for camp. If it's a water day, what we're doing on that, who's picking them up. You want to just make sure communication is happening. I don't care if you don't like the other person. Love your kids more than you hate your ex. Communicate, be respectful in communication, and it's going to go so much smoother. And it's going to be really hard on your kids this summer. Make it easy on them, even if you have to have about 5 minutes of uncomfortable conversation by communicating and making sure everybody gets on the same page.
Of course, and that's certainly something that parents can agree on, really, is easier on the kids. So.
Absolutely, and if you're traveling, make sure the other parent knows where you're traveling. If you have flight numbers, give them that. If you have the address of the hotel, give them that. If you know who else is coming on the trip, probably tell them that. Travel is a big stressor a lot, especially if it's the first time your kids are away from you for an extended period of time. So just make sure that you are giving as much information as you can. Make it easy on everybody.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Mark, for joining us today. Now, he really is a wealth of information. In fact, there's a book out, Exit Strategy. You can find more information about that on his website. They'll send that to you for free for more of those questions answered. And again, you can learn more at ksdk.com/showme.